almost now 66-year history, it has always had a kind of pragmatic relationship with the private sector, to relieve pressure. Because obviously there's you can only at any one point have a certain amount of resource within the NHS capacity, and there has been always times where the NHS has used the private sector to add capacity, either on a kind of one-off basis, or when we were in government, we had a more structured relationship with the private sector to bring down NHS waiting lists. And I would defend that. I absolutely would defend that, because it was done in a way where they were adding value to improve services to NHS patients. But the point being, it was a kind of managed relationship. It wasn't about an open, competitive relationship between the two, where, in theory, the private sector could replace the public NHS. And that's the difference. My policy, when I was Health Secretary, was, as I've said before, NHS preferred provider. Yeah. And that is to give priority to the public NHS. And I just want you to understand that is what I believe in. I think it's what the vast majority of NHS staff believe in. It's that core in every community of public provision that is about people, not profits, is absolutely precious, the precious bedrock of the system. And if you allow that to be kind of like chipped away at and just kind of opened up to anybody, then you do see the kind of basic destruction of the NHS and what it stands for in the long run. So I'm not, I don't think it is right to say, but there's never a role for anybody else in providing an NHS service, because sometimes voluntary or private providers can bring some innovation, they can bring some new thinking. But as long as that is within that relationship where the main public NHS is protected, and that extra support is given on a managed basis, then that's the way I would do it. And it's a very different approach that we're seeing now with the current government. As far as I'm concerned, I've kind of looked at these. I've looked in detail at all of this. It's not just that kind of emotional thing. It's partly emotional because I believe in like the Danny Boyle appeal. Who else would celebrate their NHS or health service at an Olympic opening ceremony? That was brilliant for me. I thought it was absolutely a wonderful moment. But there are kind of solid policy reasons why we do this. This kind of approach to any qualified provider that the current government do. The logical end result of that is it will just bring ever more providers onto the pitch dealing with one person. So I think, as the GP colleague was making the point before, it just brings fragmentation and increases the complexity. But the other thing is, if you look around the world at health systems, market-based systems cost more, not less, than planned systems like the NHS. We are one of a small number of countries that provides comprehensive universal health cover of a good standard for less than 10% of GDP. So why would we throw that away? I mean, people on the right often like to claim that the NHS is wasteful, and all the evidence tells you the opposite, that it is the most efficient way of providing good care to the whole population. And it's never the case that you just it's got to be monolithic NHS only provision. No. But that has got to be the core of provision in every community, and that has got to be properly protected. So I hope I've explained the policy. Yeah.